Hello, my name is Arlen McFarlane. I'm the Curious Gardener, and I'm here today with Scott Snyder, and we're talking companion planting. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Arlen. It's nice to see you again.
Thanks for having us.
Come out to the farm.
So why would someone want to companion plant?
Well, I guess the simple thing is that plants can complement each other and enhance things in themselves that they don't get normally. So if I plant things that grow down into the ground and beside something that grows up into the air, I'm not putting a drain on the same kind of resources.
Tell me what we've got here.
Corn, squash, and beans. And they're companion plants. Traditionally, the native people used to grow this together and call it the Three Sisters because it provided them with food and all the nutrients they needed. Down here at the bottom, they're quite small right now, are beans. That's typical bean leaf. Now, they'll grow up, and as they're runners, they'll wind themselves around the corn stalk, and which is quite obvious, being this one here, the tall one here. And this here is the squash, and these are the squash flowers. And this plant it runs out. It just runs out and spreads. And what happens is with this is the beans growing get to use the corn as a support to climb up. They themselves are nitrogen-fixing plants, so they help with nitrogen nodules and nutrient uptake to the roots from the squash and the corn. And both the corn growing upwards, it taking the light, and up here on the ground, the squash can spread out and cover and use the sunlight that's coming down from there. It also helps to act as a mulch and keep out competing weeds and stuff and other plants that want to grow in there. So being a perfect match to each other.
Sounds like a perfect association, the three
sisters.
The Three Sisters. I understand companion planting helps with insects sometimes.
Yeah, they do. There are some plants that give off scents, odors, and have surfaces that insects don't like. So they're repelled by that, so they tend to stay away. For what we do here, we're growing a lot of container plants and a lot of nursery stock like that. We're concerned about aphids. We don't like to have aphids in our greenhouse. So we grow a lot of plants like petunias, and particularly the dark ones, which are known to produce kind of scents that repel bugs. So we just don't get them coming in. So that's a good reason to do that.
How do I figure out how many petunias I need to protect my greenhouse?
I'd put a couple, and I put a couple of them by the door. Or if you have an open window that's not screened, then I would put some there as well. Just, they look nice, they smell really nice, and they do keep the bugs out.
Do you use any native Yukon plants in your companion planting?
Well, we do. What we use them for is attracting pollinating insects. So in the greenhouse here, for example, I usually don't like to have a lot of flowering plants that could go to seed, but I find the fireweed in here that you can see here, the bees pick up on that a lot, and as do other flying insects, and they come to the fireweed, and so at the same time they say, oh, look at the rest of what we've got here, and maybe we'll go to those tomatoes over there, or some squash or cucumbers in the corner, and so that's an advantage there. That's an attractant for that companion on that. This plant here is called a linaria, and wonderful smell to it, bright colors, and the nice thing about that up here in the Yukon is that when it's finished being a nice flower, it turns into seeds. The seeds fall on the ground and they grow next year. And it's in a pot with something that's called a cerinthe or honeywort. It's an old plant from Europe. It grows up with these funny stalks, and they don't really put up flowers or branches. They turn into things they call bracts. And the end of this plant will start to turn blue, get little wee flower pods in here that are very sweet and taste like honey when you eat them. And they're very big on drawing in bees as well. So another plant I'd like to have around to bring in the bees for our producing crops.
Tell me what's going on in this pot here.
Yeah, again, we're back to talking about flowers and companion planting them. These ones here all have different types of growth habits, you know. This plant here, this is a morning glory, and morning glories are a vine. Without a support here, this one is going to go out and down and round and can work down the side of the plant, so we have room for it to get maximum amount of sun. This is another petunia over here, a black one, and they like a nice sort of a little bushy area in here, so they can complement one going down, one coming up. We've got a nice viola back over here, this little yellow one over here that has a wonderful smell, and by the way, you can eat the flowers, so they're quite nice that way. This here's an amaranth. Amaranth is an old grain plant that people used to cultivate. They grow very, very tall and kind of get this wonderful color, foliage, and seed pods, seed stalks, I guess you call them, little stems that you can actually dry and and get this grain, this seed grain off of it.
How have you come to discover which plants work best together?
Mostly by trial and error. You know, we've been doing this now for some years, and we found that ones that don't, we go, oh, we don't, that just didn't like that. What happened there? We puzzle ourselves. We think we did something wrong, but then we realize that just some plants just don't like to be together, so they won't enhance each other. And then also when we want to find a visual effect, we build up, I guess, a catalog in our heads of the shape and the growth and what something looks like, so we can put it together and go, oh, I know what's going to happen there, and have it sort of turn out that way, which is always nice. It makes it really good when we can do the right thing. And we do that sometimes we're growing our vegetables as well. We know which ones are going to work together. Instead of putting the big tall ones in front, we put them at the back, so they don't shade out everything else.
This one just seems to kind of lift it up and hold it up, eh?
It does, doesn't it? Just the way that one, the way it comes out.
Yeah, it's really quite sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't droop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at the size of that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.